Hi everyone, this is Lisa from Lisa's Painting Parties, and we are here on Wednesday night. Hey everyone, it's Lisa from Lisa's Painting Parties, and we are here to start our weekly free paint party. So if you can see me, we'll get started in just a few minutes. And we are painting, let's tilt it slightly, we're painting this image here, or our version of this image. These are some red cardinals, or cardinals I should say, on some birch trees, and that was voted by all of you guys this past week. So every Saturday we have 3 paintings that go up on our site. They're images that I find on Google, or people send them in. Sometimes they're paintings, sometimes they're photos, and whichever one has the most votes is the one that we paint. So we vote for them, and then on Tuesday we announce the winner, and then Wednesday night is when we paint. So this is the one we voted on. And today we're going to be doing our version of it. So this is my first time painting it, maybe along with you guys as well, and I'll walk you through how I would go approach recreating this painting. So I'm really excited about it. It's so fun. I think I want to do a few changes to it. I do want to make the sky a little brighter. I know it's supposed to be like a dreary winter kind of scene, but I do want to, I think, add a little bit more, like a little bit of a brighter blue or whatnot in there, so we can go from there. Hey Marg, I'm happy you're joining. Hi Lucy. Hi Ruth. You're joining again? Yay, I'm so excited. I love seeing the familiar names come back up. It's fantastic. Just as a thing, so you see that there is this lovely person who has nothing else better to do, who is putting a bunch of random links on a site. Please do not click any of those links. Those are, if you see me, this is where you need to be. And that person is just trying to scam you somehow. So please don't click on those links. I can try, let's see if I can try to block them from here. It gives me issues sometimes through here. If you see it and you're able to hit a block or a report, that would be fantastic, everyone. Hey Paula from Chicago, first time. I'm so glad that you're joining. That's fantastic. And Julie, yeah, you absolutely can. So the video will be up on my, still on my Facebook site. It will be right there on the page under the videos tab, or you can go on my YouTube channel and you can watch it from there whenever you so desire. It will be up probably about 2 hours or so after the painting party is done. Cool. A scammy person doesn't let me see who else has commented, so it's kind of annoying. I apologize. I'm just scrolling through it. Hi, Terry. I know, right, Lucy? It bothers me. Hi, Donna. Hey, Dorothy from Aurelia, first time. Fantastic. I'm so glad you're joining. Yeah, this is going to be a really fun painting. And yes, Madeline, this can be done later. You can watch it on my YouTube channel, Lisa's Painting Parties, or on the videos tab on the site. It's all free. It will stay up. I don't make any money off of this, and neither should any of those scammers, so don't click on those links. And they're really active tonight, so we'll see how that keeps going. It's funny because, again, if you can see me talking, we're going to be doing it right here, so you don't go anywhere. We're going to be doing it right here. Anyways, I think I have to make my page private or something to like block them, but then I can't meet any more of you guys, any more new people, which is kind of the whole point, to try to get everyone, you know, to do this for free, for fun. All right, let's get this going. Let's make this a little bit, I think that's a bit better. Okay, a little bit later. Hi, Susan. So glad you're joining. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Joe. Fantastic, from Vancouver Island. Amazing. Kamal is really on this. Don't click Kamal's links. He's a scammer. Hi, Mary. I'm so happy. Aw, it's like a reunion every week. It's so nice. I feel like I know you guys, and we haven't even got the opportunity to meet or talk to each other in person. Let me see if I can do this on my phone. Oh, bye-bye, Kamal. I just deleted you and banned you. There we go. All right, cool. So we'll see. I'm sure someone else will come up. But anyways, hey, Rose. I'm very popular, apparently. Even the scammers want a piece of this. Okay. Anywho. All right. It really bothers me. I apologize. I try not to let it take away from it, but it bothers me so much. Anyways, okay, so this is the painting we're going to be doing today. I'm going to wait another couple of minutes just to make sure anyone else who wants to join can have time to do so. So I'll walk you through the supplies that I have on hand, and just so you can get ready if you haven't already. So if you don't already have a copy of the image that we're doing, I have it available for you right here, or you can grab it from our post from yesterday, and you can do the same thing. You can grab it and you can just have it available there. 1 second. Okay. Cool. And then I have my canvas board. My canvas board is 11 by 14. So I do prefer the canvas boards over regular canvas, mostly for just it's easier for me to store my things. Okay, I'm able to ban people on my phone, so that's what I'm doing right now. So hopefully that will be good to go. I need someone to volunteer to be my tech person. If anyone wants to be the tech to ban and delete people, you need to let me know. Because again, this is just me doing this. So I apologize for it. Okay, got a few of those. Perfect. Hi, Kayla. Hi, everyone. All right, so we're gonna be starting up. So we also have, okay, so what else do I have in my supplies? I apologize. There is water containers. I usually have 2 just because I've had to before in my lives run in grab fresh water, and that's not very convenient when you're all waiting for me. I also have my paints. So I always say you can mix any paints you need out of our primary colors, and having white and having black. So if you I have all my paints kind of on a little thing here. They're not like my dollar store paints. But yeah, so we got red, blue, and yellow. And then I have white and I have black. So those 5 are the colors that we can do anything with. So definitely have those. I also have some pre-mixed too, and if you do as well, fantastic. I'll always walk you through, if you don't have the colors, what you can mix to get what we need. I also have Bob Ross here. He's my good luck charm, so he's hanging out with us as well. And paintbrushes. So in relation to your canvas size, I never say specifically because you can just have what you have. I have a fine point, I have a very large brush, and I have a medium one. So really it's just whatever you prefer best. My fine tip ones are really easy to have a nice, it's almost like a pen-like grip. So it makes it really easy to control and process that way. And okay. All right, cool. And so yeah, so what we're going to do is, as we do every week, is we're going to get started on the background, and we're going to work our way up. So the background on this is kind of just it gives you kind of a gray, dreary, kind of wintry day. I do want to make mine a little bit brighter blue because I want it to pop a little bit more. So that's my plan for it. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to that. Once we have that background, it's going to be very abstract and just to get some color on here. Then we're going to paint in our birch trees in the back. Oops. There you go. And I'll walk you through that. We'll put in the details and we'll do our cardinals probably at the end, realistically. So, so this is just a canvas board I got from Amazon. So it's just like a canvas board. You just, if you look up canvas board, you can find them on there. Again, I don't use any particular brand. I'm not privy to that. I'm not privy, but to me it doesn't really matter. Wow, they are active tonight. I guess there's no political things to for them to try and scam that way, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Anyhow, all right, cool. So let's get started. So let me see. Are you guys good to see what I'm doing? Maybe I'll bring you a little bit closer. Then you can't see that, so we'll go like that. Perfection. Yes, Stephanie, you absolutely can. So Stephanie, you can watch this later on my YouTube channel, or you can watch it on the Facebook page under the videos tab. I know, Mary, this is really frustrating. And I'm guessing they're just really targeting it because they're obviously getting people, scamming them somehow. So I might have to change things up and have to figure out a different way to do it. Because it throws me off quite a bit, clearly, as you can see. Trying to give you guys the rundown of things. And it's just like, please don't give personal information. Please don't get scammed. Let's just have fun. I'm just doing this for fun, and I have to worry about these 8 holes that I have to deal with. But anyways, we're not going to let that get us down. Okay, let's start painting. All right, perfect. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do when we want to do a nice coverage on the background is we're going to get some water, and we are just going to wet down the canvas. And I'm using the canvas in portrait, okay? So you can do it if you want in landscape too. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. But the original or the inspiration image is a portrait. So I'm going to stick with that because the birch trees are, and I kind of want to have that, them jutting up on my page. Okay. I wonder if there's a limit to how many people I can ban and delete. So I feel like I'd be fast approaching it. Okay. Okay, so once you have the canvas wet with water, not dripping wet, mine's a little bit too much. I'm just going to blot it a bit with paper towel. Sorry, that was another supply that I have on hand, which I got distracted about from telling you. And I do apologize with that, since we have other worries today. Okay, so to do our background, we definitely need white. So let's get that on our palette. My palette's always nice and dirty, so you can see the white really nicely on there. Awesome, Denise. Sounds good. You can definitely watch this anytime. I'm going to put some black. So once this is done, I think you can even like rewind some of the live videos from what I heard. So that's kind of cool. And I'm going to put a little bit of blue, because like I mentioned, I do want it to have a little bit of blue kind of come in. So that's kind of my amounts for now. I try not to put a heck of a lot of anything on here because the paint dries very quickly. Just going to do another little... a little banny. Wowie zowie. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to start with my white, just to get some paint on here. You can't see anything yet. This is a scam. It's just white paint on a white canvas. I accept that. Okay, a little bit of black on my brush now that I put some white paint on. And I'm just going to put that on. It's pretty dark. It's way darker than I want it. So I'm just going to put more white on top and just kind of brush in like a sweeping, almost like X's. I want the background to have a little bit of texture going on. Almost like it's a dreary, maybe like windy or a bit snowy kind of day. And I do always end up doing like a full background coverage, even though I know there's going to be birch trees on either side. That makes sense. But that's what I do. Okay. So I'm just getting white paint and putting it on. I put a little bit of black paint initially, and that little bit of black paint really was impactful, so you definitely don't need to use a lot of it. I am going to get a little bit of blue, and I'll start to play with that too. My gosh. Honestly, I think I've banned like 30 people tonight. Okay. And it's not even like exciting things. Like I'm not even getting like weird things sent to me or anything. It's just like scammers. I guess that's maybe a blessing anyways. Now that I said that, it's gonna be bad. Anyways, okay. The blue has very little impact, so I'm gonna just put a bit more. So I'm just blending right on the canvas. I just threw some blue, and all I'm doing is just creating kind of the background sky. And I want mine to have a little bit more blue in it. There was a little bit, I guess, in the original. You can kind of see peeking. And you can do whatever you want. If you want it to be more like purplish, if you just want to stick with the gray color, if you want to change anything up with it, you absolutely can. Again, this is just the inspiration that we're going to go by. So feel free to share what you are doing. If there's anything in particular, anything different that you are approaching. It's hard to have conversations though when we get all these links and stuff, because then we can't really have proper banter. But usually they stop after a little while. We'll see. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like they're really bored today. It's very sad. I wonder if they get paid for it. It's like these are the things that I think about now a lot. I'm like, are these people's jobs? Just create fake accounts and like, I guess it must be. And what I hate about it too, it's always like, the names are always like very like ethnic names. So I feel like it just makes me like a little bit more racist. Like, and I know it sounds really stupid, but I feel like whenever I see a name that's similar, I'm always like, oh, is this person, you know? And that's really not cool. And that's my own fault, obviously, like, but I hate that. I hate that too. Like, can you just not? Or maybe just be more creative. Like, pick like fake accounts and different names of like a bunch of different people and different backgrounds, so then I can just like assume everyone's scamming me. No, I don't know. Anyways. Okay. As you're doing this, get the sides of your canvas too. Let's turn that a little bit. You're right, Alicia. I don't know anything about that, like how all that works, but you're right. It's probably just like an algorithm and they're just like, they set it up and that's all it is. I mean, they have all that stuff for like, you have all that stuff happening on Twitter, and that's why we had a paint party on like the night of like the American election, and it was so quiet. It was like the most relaxed paint party ever. I'm like, oh, they're busy. Got it. Oh, that was kind of funny. It's like, it's more important things to do. We gotta go try and sway this election somehow. Let's not worry about this random paint party from Canada. Okay, I'm just trying to get a little bit more blue. So I'm just playing with it until I get kind of like a nice background to build on. But like I said, I do want it to be a little bit brighter. So I'm just throwing in some blue willy-nilly. And then it's blending nicely because we have a lot of white on here. The whole back is still quite wet. Yeah, if all my regular people want to comment a little bit, then that kind of helps clear some of the comments of the scammers too. So feel free even just to like be like, hey, or whatever. I also feel kind of like, I don't know if you guys know Dora the Explorer. My son was into Dora a few years ago when he was younger. And I always think of Swiper, and it's like, Swiper, no swiping. And I think of scammers, no scamming. I know that's lame, but that's what you get when you watch me. You get a bunch of scammers in the comments, cool painting techniques, and bad jokes. That's my appeal. Okay, so I think I'm almost happy with my background. Hope you guys are too. I think I'm pretty good with it. I might put a little bit more blue actually. I did put like a little dollop of black as I was going through because I wanted it to still have like that gray tone, and I felt like I was going a little bit too light. So, but I want it just to look like a, yeah, that's so pretty. I like it. a little bit more black in there. So you kind of work quickly, kind of willy-nilly on here, just because it will dry pretty quickly if you're using thin coats of paint. If you're using thicker coats, oh, you guys are the best. I love it. I love that you guys just put a bunch of comments. You guys are awesome. Yeah, exactly. I love it. Good. It's nice to see your real people commenting. I like it. It's hard though. I mean, like if you're like right involved in your painting, I totally get it. Because I can't stop and like do it. It's nice that I can actually talk to you guys about it, which is nice. But okay, so I think I'm pretty happy. I mean, you could also add if you wanted a little bit of yellow too. You want to be cautious a bit because you might get a bit of green, but that might look kind of neat too, actually. But I think I'm okay with it. I don't know. We'll see. I always say that, then I paint a little bit more, and then thanks, guys. Thanks, Kayla. Aw, thanks, Zuzu. Thanks for joining me. You guys help me so much. Because like I said, I don't make any money from this. I'm not a professional artist at all. I work in like marketing. I'm like, this was my creative outlet that I need. So having people come on and enjoy and do this with me makes me so happy. So happy. Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, I'm going to leave my background like this. So I want to let it pretty much dry at this point. So then I can put my birch trees in. So if I start painting on top, I could probably get away with it a little bit. But I do want them to be pretty white so that we can build off of it as well. Thanks, Andrea. Or Andrea? Andrea or Andrea? I know people pronounce it differently. How can we? Okay, see if you can get, no, you can't see me today. There, a little bit. Just wave a little bit. I tried just to bring you closer a bit to the painting this week because I realized I could just like move my laptop. I didn't realize that until this week. Anyways. Oh, thank you so much, Alicia. That's really sweet. Okay. Alright, so mine's still pretty wet. Yours is probably too, so we'll give it a little bit more time to dry a bit. And like I said, then the next step will be to block in where we want our birch trees to live. So in our inspiration painting here, there's 3 very prominent birch trees to place in. So I'm going to follow the inspiration image pretty closely for that. But we'll do that in just a moment or so. Okay. Oh, Mary, that's really sweet. Yeah, no, this is not for a living. This is just I'm not professional at all. I just love painting, and I'm good at it overall. I'm very good at copying images. I'm not very good at creating my own images, which is why I like to see inspiration, and I like to tweak it, and I like to do things like that. So that's part of the reason. So that's why I do keep it free too, because it's not my own image. So I don't feel right doing it a different way, if you know what I mean. But really though, it's just, yeah, I have a full-time job, which I greatly enjoy. Very flexible. But this is definitely a passion. But if anyone is watching and you want me to host any private parties, I'm totally down for that, because I'm super personable, as you can tell. And it would be cool to be on like a Zoom platform so I can actually we can speak back and forth. So I'm totally down to do things like that if that's something you guys are looking for. But no pressure. So there's a bunch of free videos. You could always just watch one of my old videos too and hang out with a bunch of people and do it. That's cool too. Okay, as it's starting to dry, I feel like I don't know if that's canvas that's showing, if that's just white paint, and it's kind of bugging me. But it's okay, because we're going to put a birch tree there, so. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist too, so when I see little things, it drives me insane. But yeah. Hopefully the music's okay too in the background. I just have like my Spotify playing one of the like classical soundtrack list thing. Once in my other videos I had listened to, like my sound was coming off very like poppy, like the microphone sounded kind of funky. So I'm hoping everything is going well today. You can hear me okay? Okay, so we're just waiting for anyone who might join in or whatnot. We're just waiting for the paint to dry. That's what I'm doing right now. My years of being an only child and talking to myself come in handy in these moments when I can't speak to you and you guys can't reply directly. It's just like a stream of consciousness that keeps going. Okay, I think we're getting almost to the point where I'm going to try to go to the next step, even though normally I would wait a little longer. But let's live life on the edge tonight, shall we? Okay, I'm going to start. I think on the sides here are dry enough so I can block in those birch trees. So I'm just putting more white paint on my palette because I need it. Still going to use my big brush. It gives a lot of nice coverage. And the trees are going to be pretty thick. And so what I want to do now is I want to block in white where I want my birch trees to live. So white paint, I think I'm going to start on this side here. So there's a nice thick one right here. So I'm just going to bring white paint all the way down. So if your paint's still really wet, I would suggest to still wait until it dries a bit further before doing this step. Just because you'll pick up the colors from beneath it. So I think I want this one to be a little thicker. So I always go a little thinner at first and then I just like fatten it up as I go. And I suggest doing the same because then it's easier to, it's not as hard to fix mistakes that way. I don't know if I wanted it thicker than that, maybe. Okay, I think we're good there. Oh, you don't hear any music. Okay, well, that's interesting. I guess it's really low. But I guess my volume's okay. Maybe I'll see if I'll turn it up a little bit later. When did I start painting? I started painting probably in high school. So there was a really awesome art teacher at my high school. And he was the reason why I went to that high school. I actually wanted to go to a school for the arts, although I wasn't into painting at that point. Like I was into drawing and like pastels and whatever. And I had my application all ready to go. And then I decided it was really far away, so it really didn't take that long to get there. But then I went to another school that was closer to my house to do the visits, and the teacher was there, and I saw some of the work that he was doing, and I met him. And he is just so cool, like such a cool guy, and the art was incredible, and I just felt at home. And that's when I got into it, through him, for sure. For sure. And I do have quite a few of my original paintings, my first ones. Yeah, they're actually hanging up. Some at my mom's house and some at my house from high school. And maybe I'll share them with you guys. They are actually fully original, and they're quite, like, creepy and dark. So make of that what you will. But yeah, could have just been like teenage years, right? And everyone's a little bit emotional and stuff. It was like, well, when was it? I graduated high school in 2000, so it was the 90s when I was there. So it was definitely like the grunge times. Plaid shirts and all of that, even though I was into Backstreet Boys. So it really wasn't But somehow the darkness was still there in my paintings, just not in my music. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't like pop music, you're lucky, because I would normally be playing pop music and dance music when I'm painting. Even the classical's nice. It's definitely relaxing. I appreciate it, but there would definitely be boy bands and Britney and other 90s music happening, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm just putting my other birch tree on the other side. I'm not worrying so much like if my lines aren't perfectly straight, because trees aren't perfectly straight. They do have little indents, and that's why I love painting trees, because you can get away with it not being perfect and it's okay. So that's what I like about it. It's all natural. You can kind of just go with the flow, and you can make things look really nice without worrying about super straight lines. You'll notice that in paintings, when we do paintings together that involve more precision, I definitely struggle with that. And it's really good to use different tools if you have, like, you know, if you have something that has a straight edge, like a ruler or something. I definitely recommend doing that when you have those types. But that's why nature is so great, because it gives you a little bit more room, which is awesome. You're also dark and crazy. I love it. All right, let's pop in the next one here. I'm just debating whether I want to start putting in some blends in the wet paint. You know what? I'm not going to do that right yet. Let's just put in the next tree, and then if we need to, I'll just put more paint on top and make it wet again. Someone said, why don't I use a blow dryer? Honestly, I have never used a blow dryer. It probably is just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I'm not sure why. I never did. I guess because I never, like, started off using one, and so my brain's kind of like, it doesn't associate to grab my blow dryer and do it. Which I could just easily do that. It's true. I'm just going to put in this tree here. And you know what, it's funny, when you say that, I've seen a lot of other people who host parties and stuff, and they use blow dryers, or they'll have them at the paint parties too. Something to keep in mind. And if I've never like hosted like anything live, like in person before, so if that ever happens in the future, I'll have to keep that in mind. Have a blow dryer available. Smart. Okay. But I guess if you can't hear my music, I think Lucy had said you can't hear my music, so I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just quiet, so I guess even if I had pop music on, you still wouldn't be able to hear it. So the whole conversation was like null and void. Just gonna take a look if scammers are still doing their thing. No, so far they seem to have fallen asleep or went to someone else. Decided to give up for a little while. I'm sure they'll be back. Yeah, last week I had to ban an account, and the name was Lisa. I was like, how rude. How rude. Now you're using my name? Ugh. Hate that. I mean, smart as a scammer, but come on, not cool. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy where my trees are living. I'm not going to worry too much about my lines right now, because as you see, there's a nice like outline on these beautiful birches. So I'm going to worry about that then when I put that detail in later. What I'm going to do now is think about how I want to blend and get them to look more like birch trees. So let's take a look and let's think about how we want to approach that. So, okay, so a few different components here. So it's definitely the light sources coming in from this side here, right? So we're going to have them lighter, so it's going to stay more pure white all on this side of the tree here, okay? And if you change your light source, that's totally fine. If you want to come in from, you know, you can do whatever you want. I'll talk it through this way. And then the other colors that we see on here are like kind of like a yellowy, it's like a yellowy brown, like a bit of greenish, a little bit of gray. There's a lot of different colors that we can use to like get this like blend on. I think I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna stick with kind of a gray tone, I think. And then I might layer in maybe even a little bit of my blue just to give it a little bit of pop. And then I might put a bit of brown as well. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So if you don't have brown paint, if you mix red and green together, no, sorry, my bad. Red and yellow and blue together, you will get a brown color. I would suggest going with red and blue first and then putting in some yellow. So I'll do like equal parts and then just kind of go from there. It's tricky to say when you're mixing because it depends where you get your paints from and what blue or what red or what yellow you have. So I have my paints from the Almighty Dollar Store, and they are very different. Like a peacock blue is different than like a midnight blue or whatever. So they already have their own pigments, so you kind of have to play with it a little bit. So I would say if you want to start mixing a bit of a brown, because we will be using that a little bit, and I think it'll be fun to do that. Otherwise, if you have a pre-mixed one, which I do, so I'm going to just grab that one. Oh, I grabbed purple. That's not going to help me. There we go. So I'm going to get my brown going. I do want a little bit going on from there. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on my palette as well. Okay. Cool. Oh, Joe, you're like, yeah, you went to an all-girls Catholic school. I went to Catholic school too, actually, but it wasn't an all-girls school. It was co-ed, and I also sang in the choir. Look at that. But not in high school. In elementary school, I sang in the choir. And it was super fun. But I think most of us did. Like, a lot of us just sang in the choir. It was like the fun thing to do at lunch. Okay, so still a little wet, and I think I want to still play with it while it's a little wet. So I'm going to get some of my yellow. I think I'm going to start with my yellow. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to block in those lines first. Maybe the brown. You know what? I'm going to use my brown first. So if you've pre-made a brown, let's use that. Or you could use a black potentially. I'm going to put a little bit of dark in my brown because the brown I have is very light. So I'm just going to make it a little darker. Okay. And I'm going to start putting in some of my lines in my birch. So I'm going to block in where I want those to live. That one's going to be there. Okay, so my brown, my black. You could use like a gray as well, like a really dark gray. I'm putting in some more black too because this is not very dark. So I'm just basically putting in a few lines along the birch. My paint's still wet, so I'm kind of digging it because it's changing the color of the paint that I'm putting on. It's making it a little bit lighter and it's giving it a nice look, which I'm okay with. Okay. Okay. Now that I know more or less where those are going to live, I want to have it a little bit darker on the side. So I'm just going to put in, I'm just going to touch it. This is still a little bit wet. The white's still a little wet. So I'm just going to put in a couple of strokes like this. Like there's hardly any paint on my brush. and then I'm gonna get some white, I think, and I'm gonna mix it in just to blend it. Ooh, that just, no, it's working. That happens with me too. It's like I'll try something and then I'm like, oh, it's not working, and then I'm like, oh, actually, give it another second. Acrylic paint is great for that, I find. Anyways, it's I'm always like second guessing whether it's going to do what I want it to do. Okay, and I'm going a bit more like horizontal to try to go with like the roundness of the tree, I guess. I think that's my thought process in that. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I'm trying to put a lot of white on my brush. I'm trying to... That was a bit too much. I kind of just painted right over it. I'm trying to get it when it's still a little wet so I can blend it better. I'm digging it on the wet paint because I'm thinking it's giving a really nice texture, but now I think those ones aren't going to be as nice because the paint's drying too fast. But that's okay. We'll just have to put some white paint on it first and we'll do it again. It's all good. Okay. That's cool. That gives a nice impression of it. I like that. Let's see if I can make this a little bit louder. Put the music a little bit louder. I don't know if you guys can hear it now. Oh, I'm so happy, Rosemary. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. That's so great. That makes me so happy. It's always more enjoyable now that like real people are on and the scammers have like left the building for a little while. I'm sure. They usually don't put any more comments at this point because it's like, I guess at this point they're like, oh, people can see the painting, I guess. We can't get them to go somewhere else. I'm just getting a little bit more white paint just to, I'm noticing I can still see my blue in the background on it and I don't like that. Just bringing it a little bit over. Okay, I think that's looking decent enough. Ooh, the camera angle's weird. I apologize. It's like up my nose. That's not what you want to see. There we go. That's much nicer. I am sorry about that weird angle. All right, but now we're cooking. Okay. If you guys stuck with me through that angle, then I don't know. I thank you. That was pretty weird. It's like, okay, I think I really want to put like a little bit of blue. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna try and just like put a little bit in, and then if it looks good and you want to do it. Otherwise, I will be the rebel and try. And if it looks crappy, then it's okay, because then your painting can still stay and look nice. But I think I'm digging it. I think I kind of like the little blue lines in it. Yeah, I am. I think I like that a lot. Oh yeah. Oof, now I want more white. I tend to not wash or rinse out my brush as I'm going through it. I usually just use paper towel to like clean off the excess paint from the brush, and I continue using the same one. I don't know exactly like why specifically. I find when I wash it, I get too much water buildup in the bristles, and it dilutes the paint. I think that's the main reason as to why. And it's also faster because I'm a little like I'm impatient, so for you to like rinse it and then make sure there's no water and then go back. It's just like a little bit faster, I think. You want to be real here. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty. Cool. Okay. I think I want to do the same thing and just put a little bit of brown, but I want to lighten it up a bit and put some yellow and just put a few little lines again in the Oh yeah. What? These trees look amazing. Okay, cool. Again, I'm kind of venturing a little bit away from that, but I dig it, so. Hopefully you're enjoying this process too. So I'm just basically going with like kind of brown color. So it's brown, I put a bit of yellow just to lighten it up a bit. So it's almost like this golden brown, and I'm just putting these light lines. Again, kind of the same thing I just did with the blue, only I'm putting some brown now. And I feel like that's making everything pop and kind of come together really nice. I like it. So if you're digging that, feel free to copy. If you're not, you can always change things up and or go in your own direction as well. So again, there's no right or wrong way, as long as you're having fun. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong. That's what that sounds kind of. It still sounds judgmental. I don't even like saying that. I'm like, So no. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit of black on some of these lines too. Again, to try to make it pop. Add a little bit more, I think. Not a lot more. Okay. And then I think I'm going to go with my black. I want it to get like a really dark brown, so I'm just putting some black in my brown, but it might end up just being black, I'm not sure. And I want to give this a nice outline here. I'm going to start with this brush, and if it starts bothering me, I might have to switch to my fine brush. But I was kind of digging the control this brush was giving me, so I'm gonna give it a chance. Just trying not to like it as much. It's good. I'm happy with that. All right, we got one tree going on. Right, Andrea? It's crazy. You just put a little bit of yellow or a little brown and it just like pops, like it's nuts. That's what I love about painting. Like, I love how, like I said, when I was starting, I was kind of like, I don't think this is turning out very nice. You just keep going. And then it turns out pretty good. I guess that doesn't always happen. But I find that happens a lot with me with acrylic paint. But I always second guess it and think like, oh, this is horrible. What am I doing? And then as it continues, you're like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Being amazing. Cool. All right. Let's mimic this look. I think I'm going to go here. And this is definitely dry. So I want to make it wet again, which I probably should have just done each tree separately instead of just add layers upon layers of paint. But c'est la vie. I'm just going to put white paint just to wet this. This is kind of good too because I did still see quite a bit of the blue background coming through the tree, and that is not what I want. So don't go away, picture. We need you. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yes, I feel like this line was a little too thick. I should have probably went with my thinner brush, but I'm going to continue on, and then if it really bothers me later, then maybe I'll thin it out later, but I'm not going to worry about that right yet. Okay, so let's do the same thing we did on this side here, on that side over there. So I'm putting a little bit of black into my brown so I can make my streaky lines happening. Okay. And there's some nice ones, but those are the branches that are going to be on top of here. But I'm still going to put in a few lines. We're going to pretend those branches, well, they don't exist right now anyways. Okay, cool. I think, because there's going to be a branch that comes this way. Okay, I think that'll be fine. I think we're good with that. Okay, so now that we have those planned out, okay, we'll use the same kind of color. And then this side is where we need this darker area to come in. So I'm just going to put in this paint, this color kind of. I'm going to drag my brush just so I get this color on here. Okay, so that just looks like weird. Super abstract. Okay, I'm going to clean off this brush. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's almost been an hour already. That's crazy. Time flies, man. Holy baloney. That's nuts. I'm like, how? How has it been this fast already? Anyways, I blame the scammers. That's who I blame. Everything. Anything you guys want to blame it now, just blame it on them. The feed doesn't work correctly, it's them. If you go to the grocery store and something you can't find, it's their fault. That's going to be my scapegoat. The scammers. The bots. Okay. So I'm just going over, so the paint is still pretty wet below, and I'm just getting a little bit of white paint on my brush. Kind of go over what I just did, and then to like blend it horizontally into my birch tree. Okay. Just to give that shade, that shadow happening over here. Okay. It's okay if that line of the tree is a bit funky, because we're going to end up putting a nice little border line right on it. Okay, so we got a shadow going on. It sure does, Mary. I totally agree. It absolutely does. And I love painting too, because it just puts me like right in the moment. My brain is always, you know, thinking ahead of the things I have to do later, and what else is on the docket, what things I have to look forward to, what's on my list. Like, even if it's positive things that I look forward to, it's still like kind of stressy. Like, so at least now it's like we have to focus on putting these lines here, and it feels very empowering. It's like, okay, I can do that. I can handle that. I can put some, oh, am I doing, kind of doing my goldeny brown ones first. Oh, let's go with it. So I'm going to get some of those lines in here. So when I'm putting these in, I tend to constantly make them very like uniform, and I'm trying to break that because I want them to be a bit more like some of them a bit longer and some a bit shorter. But I'm like, I get into like little patterns. It's hard to break. So I'm trying to be conscious of that as I'm going through. I'm making some of them a little bit longer, some a little bit shorter. They don't just look like same straight line all the way down because that would look a little bit weird. Okay, and then I want to get that blue into, I'm going to use some white after. Okay. Okay, let's put in a little bit of the blue. I did it the opposite way that time. I put the brown first and then I'm putting the blue. We'll see. Okay, so let's do some blending and we'll get some black to make it all pop. Oh, good. I'm glad you can hear the music now. That's good. We couldn't before, so that's awesome. Just going now back over and putting some white. I feel like some of those lines look a little bit weird, and that's making it look a little bit nicer. Yeah. Okay, let's get some black. No, they don't have to be on the same side. You can do them wherever you want. Again, this is literally an inspiration picture. So we're just getting the vibe from it. So you can, if you like the way it is, cool. If you want to change it up, you can do whatever you want with it. This is just to get us thinking about painting and trying something maybe out of our comfort zone, or maybe something that we feel really comfortable with. We just want to relax and have fun with it. But yeah, you can do anything you want. You can change the birds. You can make them blue jays. Doesn't matter. Do it whatever you want. Put a little bit of black. There. So I'm trying to, if you meant like the coloring here, I'm trying to keep them more because I want this side to stay as if the sunlight hitting it. So that could be what you meant actually. But no, I do think a little bit has to go on this side too, just because this tree is going to make it a little more circular. That's better. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that guy. Sorry, I think I misunderstood when you wrote that comment. My bad. They want the birds. That's what makes it hard, eh? Yeah. We're here. I'm thinking about the birds, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna put in my border line, but this time I'm gonna use my thinner brush because the other brush was good for a bit, but bothered me afterwards. Okay. So I'm just going to bring that line all the way down, even though I know there's things on top of it. So we might have to do a bit more of a cover up later. But I do want this to be nice, continuous. Yeah, this, I don't know why I didn't use this brush before. Silly, silly. All right, cool. Line that tree nicely. Oh, nice. You love those birds. You live in North Carolina and you see them here all the time. That's fantastic. Yeah, they're beautiful. My mother-in-law is a big bird person. Like, she has so many bird feeders, and she takes beautiful photos of so many different types of birds, and she attracts different types of bird, I guess, with the feed that she puts out, and she has a whole like system in place, and it's great. So yeah, so I've definitely learned to appreciate that more from her love of it. You get so many different varieties. It's crazy. All right, well, we got to this tree next. Let's get that guy done, shall we? Okay, again, I'm going through so much white today, but again, I'm going to start off by putting white paint along my entire tree, just to like wet it down so we can do some wet on wet blending. Putting a pretty thin coat on, but it'll still help. I don't want it to be super thick, but I also don't want it to dry super fast. It's still going to take us a little bit of time to do the detailing. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, let's start off. So my medium-sized brush. We're gonna get some of those, more of those lines in. So we have, this tree is a little bit thinner, so I'm gonna try to put some lines that are a little smaller and thinner. A bit more random. Okay, cool. We'll have the branch going in through there, so that's good. Okay, so let's get our brown, our black. Okay, let's put in, so I'm going to go on this side again too, so let's just put in this kind of dark brownish, grayish color in here. Ooh, that was a bit a lot. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to clean off that brush. Get that paint off of it. And then we're going to sweep it into the white. I feel like the paint I put on, the white paint, already, a lot of it already dried. Okay, we'll go with it. Okay, get some white paint. And I'm just gonna try to blend that out a little bit. There we go. Put the shadow in there. A little blotchy. Let's put in some of those little lines going on. How would I think about the other line? How would you thin out the other line? Oh, thin out this line. So what I'm thinking is I think the easiest way to approach thinning out this line would be to use white and just to like make this tree a little fatter. I think that would be the easiest way. And then I might just have to touch up a little bit of these lines in here, although I might be able to blend in nicely. I think that's what I'm going to do, because that will be easier for me just to make the tree a little bit bigger and just cover that up with white paint from the inside of the tree than trying to mimic this blue. Granted, I have a pretty consistent background blue, but if you have like different colors going on, that's going to be a lot harder to hide on that background. So I would suggest if it's a nice, pretty decent white, I would go that route for sure. And I think that I am going to do that. I just haven't. I'm going to forget about that for a little bit and I'll decide. But yeah, that's the approach that I would take. Is your line a little thick too, I'm guessing? Okay, so I'm going to go and put in a little bit of this brown. And I'm doing this one less of like these like straight lines that we did before, because this tree's a little bit smaller and it's in the background. So I'm not going to have as much of the detail that we have on the trees in the foreground. That's my thought process on why I'm approaching it this way. But you can. I just feel like if it's a little bit further away, you're not going to be able to see it as well. So I'm just going to give the impression of the color, but I'm not going to define it as readily as I did the other ones. Okay, let's do the same thing with the blue. Okay. But I am going, I'm going to make this a little bit thinner than that brown, but still not as much as before. Okay. And I'm going to get white and just tidy it up a little bit. So I'm just getting white and I'm just pulling white into some of the color that I've done. Just again, because I find again I go very uniform in my line. So even some of my blues, I notice that they're very like straight. So I'm just going to try and pull some white just to make it look a little bit organic instead of so uniform, which doesn't look right to me anyways. Okay, and so now let's go with the black and just touch those birch lines first a little bit, and then we'll make a nice border on this one too. Awesome. Okay. Now, yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna border this tree out. When you're doing that, you might want to add a little bit of water to make your paint kind of like ink-like, and that will just make it a little bit smoother when it goes on, especially if your paint's been sitting on your palette for a little bit too long. And that's exactly what's happening here. It's not giving me smooth line, and I want it to be nice and smooth. Now, I'm obviously doing my painting like this so you can see it really well, but I encourage you to like move your canvas around in whatever way is comfortable for you. Don't maneuver your hand in an uncomfortable way. Just remember that you can like turn your painting around to do these lines. It just make it as comfortable as possible too. That's something I forget sometimes when I'm painting. So just wanted to remind you. Like right now, this is where I would probably turn it, but I'm just gonna keep going so you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that worked out better than anticipated. Okay. Ah! Okay. Not too shabby. Okay. Cool. You know what? And I think I am going to thin out this line a little bit. So you're going to see me do it. Okay, so I'm going to get some white paint because it's bothering me. It is bothering me that much. The other ones turned out pretty good, so now this is like... So. That's already better. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this, I think. Yeah. So I'm just thinning out my line here because I don't like how thick I ended up doing it. So because it's like a pretty dark border, and depending on the paint that you have, you might have to go over it twice if you're trying to correct a mistake like what I'm trying to do. So I think that's already better. So we're good with that. And then I might go over it again afterwards because I still think it's going to come through a bit. So that paint's pretty dark. Not too shabby. Some beautiful birch trees. Look at these trees. I'm so proud of them. They look so cool. And I really love that I made the background a little bit brighter. I mean, actually, like in the picture, it does look pretty bright blue. But when I see it in real, like right here, the blue's not coming out that way. So I don't know why it's showing up. It's like my iPad made it the way I wanted to see it. Because when I look at my iPad, it looks pretty darn gray to me. But I'll take it. That's cool. Okay, cool. All right. I love it. This is so pretty. Okay, cool. Let's block in where we want this main focal point branch to be. All right. So again, I think I'm going to stick with my medium brush for this part. There's quite a bit to do here. Okay, I'm going to use white paint to block it in. And again, I kind of love that in this painting, we're using a lot of outlines because I'm not so worried now when I put in my line, right? I can kind of go with it, and then I can always go back and then be a nice focus and put that detail in, and then it will like clean up any of those little brush marks. I really love this picture for that. That's huge. Okay, cool. So where is this gonna live? It's gonna live like here somewhere. I'm gonna start off here. Okay. Starting point. Then we're going to have it come out. Okay. It's going to come right out over here. A nice little angle. There we go. Okay, so we can just thicken up this branch a bit. So just keep in mind, the further away the branch is from the trunk, the thinner it is, and so that means it's thicker as it gets closer. So just make sure when you're doing this, you're not making a big thick end where it shouldn't be, because that will make it look a little bit weird. Okay. Make this a little thicker, why not? Very nice. And you'll see when you're putting the white on, well, I'm not sure about you, but for me, I'm noticing that, yeah, I can see my background quite a bit. So this is going to need probably another coat on it, which is what I expected. But so far, so good. Nice. I'm scared of the birds. Joe's scared of the birds, yeah. Are you scared because they look angry or actually painting them? Because they kind of look angry. Someone had said in the comments that they wanted to make one have like an angry face. I think they wanted like this one to be angry and like looking at that one, which I think is hilarious. So I'd love to see if you guys want to put random expressions, like go for it. That's funny. Don't be scared if you're scared of painting them. Don't worry. Like we'll walk you through them. Honestly, these are very stylized, I find. So they don't look realistic. It's really that impression of it. So I'll walk you through that. We're not going to touch the birds yet. We're going to put all of these lovely branches in first, and then we're going to play with the birds, okay? And you'll notice that all these other like swirls of branches are not in white. They're all in like a dark gray, black kind of color. No, they're more like a dark brown is what I meant to say. Not really a gray at all. So we have this white in. Let's leave it at that. I'm just going to switch to my thinner brush, my more fine point. And I'm going to do the other branches all with that. And then I'm going to come back to that stuff. I still want to make it a little bit darker because I want to make it, well, put more white on it, I should say, just because I can still see, like, I can see where that line is behind it. I can see all the blue. So I want to put in white still before I put more color on it. This branch stays predominantly white anyways, so that this one's not going to be very hard to do. But let's put in some of these branches. So I'm going to get brown, but again, I want it to be a little dark, so I put a little bit of black in it. But again, black takes over everything, so just be cautious or else you're going to get black. But again, if you get, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If you get black, then use black. It's all good. Okay. And there's some white that kind of comes off it, but we can always play with that later. So let's put in this kind of curvy branch here. So we got it from about here. It comes out and it goes down. And you can see, I need to add a little bit of water to this because that paint is very like dry. It's not letting me. Oh, that's nicer. Oh, oh, so pretty. Okay. Have one little bit come out this way, one come out this way. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to thicken it up here because it should be thicker up here. It's okay. Again, I'm doing a brown here and it's off a white branch. It looks kind of weird. It's okay. We're going to fix it later. No big deal. And I want this curve to be a little thicker too. Okay, there's that funky branch. Putting a little bit of white here just to start the blending process. I really like to blend on wet paint. But that's not the way it's going to be afterwards. That's okay. I can't help myself. It looks like a weird snail that just like... I don't know. That's where my imagination went. Okay, back to business. More branches. Okay, where else are these branches going to be? We're going to have one that goes from here and goes... Ooh. Why are these branches so weird? So strange. Okay. Another branch in the background, and it is in the background, so it should be thinner. We'll see if my brush cooperates with me. And yes, you'll notice I usually blame my tools for my mistakes and not myself. I think I'm going to flip it because I need to do some of these and I don't feel like I'm getting a good flow on here. Okay. That's right. And then I just put my hand right in the wet paint. All right. Kind of weird, but that works for now. This is a little thick, so I gotta thicken this up a little bit, just make it make sense. There we go. Okay. All right. Oh, so sorry. I did not notice more comments. My apologies. Kathy. Yeah, no problem. There's what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that the video is going to be up on my YouTube channel, Lisa's Painting Parties, or it will be on the videos tab on this Facebook page for free. It's not coming down. You can do it whenever you so desire. You're scared of both words. I love it. You're funny, Joe. The branches, Mary, I'm making them like a really dark brown, but you could do them in black if you want to, but I think I'm going to stick with more of a dark brown. That's what I'm going to go for it. And Mamatha says, thank you for doing for free. Of course. Thank you guys for all joining. It's awesome. There's still like 37 of you guys watching me. It's crazy. I appreciate it so much. It makes me feel, you know, I could paint regardless, just like on my own, but there's something about, you know, having people enjoy it and like join in, and it's like a community, which is cool. So I really like it. So thank you all. So you make it way more fun for me. Okay, so I also sit on the floor when I do these, so my knees are starting to cramp up. Okay. Probably almost only a few more years like that I can do this on the floor. Okay, let's get some of these branches going in here. All right. I'm scared to do some of these. Okay, let's maybe do this one in the back first. So let's play with that one. So this one's gonna come up and swerve up. Okay. I'll write another one up this way. Okay. This brush is not my friend today. It's kind of like separating, like it's kind of like becoming two prongs going on. So I'm trying to, when I get the paint on, I'm trying to like roll it a bit in the paint so it sticks together so I don't get these weird little prongy things from happening. But they're still happening. Okay, there we go. There's another branch coming from here. Again, I made it thicker when I went far away. That's not what we want to do. So let's just make it thicker lower. Okay, so now I need some of these curvy branches that kind of like, well, that's not what I want to do. Okay, no, that's definitely not what I want to do. Okay, that basically like frame the birds, right? So we have these branches that kind of frame them nicely. So we want to think about that a little bit when we're painting. Again, if our birds go on top of them afterwards, it's no big deal. And you can make them any which way you so desire. Just for this composition, that's one thing that's really nice about it. Okay, so there's also this branch that comes here. So let's start placing that. So I'm just gonna do this one here. Okay, so okay. Then we're gonna thicken this guy up a little bit. This white paint. Okay, and I'll touch it up afterwards, so it's fine. Just wanted to start. Having it go from that into the brown that we're using. Okay. Okay, so then we wanted it to come this way. Beautiful. This way. Nice. Missed the beginning. Yep, it will absolutely be available for rewatch, Teresa. You can watch it on my page. It's under the videos tab. All my videos are there from previous paint parties, and same with on my YouTube channel. Jo was saying that her branches are looking like spiders, and it's a way harder than you think. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I even find like when I'm doing it, sometimes my pressure goes a little bit harder as I'm ending the branch, and so then it gets thicker, and then I get annoyed at myself. So sometimes I don't know, it's better to start at the end, and then as you go down, you can kind of put more pressure on, so then your branch does get thicker. I find that helps sometimes for me. That's one of my issues, is that I do that a bit. But also this brush is kind of fraying kind of weird. Again, blaming the tool, but I know it's me too, but you know. I'll just make this guy go over more here. And then I want it like a thin line, but this is really, my thin brush is like not so thin right now. I need like one of my smaller ones. Like that's a perfect example. I started fur and then I ended up with the opposite of what I just said I was doing. Oh well. If it's thick, it's thick. What am I gonna do? I'm trying to thin it up, but it's okay. Hopefully my birds are going to be so cute that no one's going to look at some of these branches. No. It's all good. Okay, let's continue this guy out here. Shine a light. The thing is, when I lighten my pressure, my brush is fraying a bit. Like it's, so like I said, I'm getting like multiple little hair points, and I don't like that. Okay. So there's another branch coming from there too. Okay, so let's thicken this guy up a bit. All right. I think we're gonna leave that one. Maybe I'll put another little branch thing going on over here. But I'm not sure. Let's do the one on the side just to give it that frame. When my husband saw this picture, he said, "Pretty sure I saw that on a greeting card." I agree with him. I feel like it looks like something that'd be on like a Christmas card, you know? Those are great inspirations too. Like Christmas cards have some really nice images to play off of. And it's funny because I think I did a similar picture, but in pastels in like grade 6 or something. And it was like from a greeting card. Like that was part of it. Like you brought in like a Christmas card, and then you had to like recreate it in like a whatever medium. I don't know. I guess it was pastels. I don't know if you could choose any medium, or that was just what I chose. I just love pastels. Last time I tried them though, I feel like I kind of like lost my touch with them. Like it just did not work the way I had remembered. I don't know. Maybe you need like the kid brain where you're not like, maybe I was overthinking it too much. I don't know. Yeah, see, like there's a little fraying things going on. I really dislike that. Ah, I'm gonna have to get like my other brush later, I think, and touch it up. But for now, let's just continue on and play with these a bit. I still feel like I need a little bit more going on here. Ugh, sorry, some of these strokes really bother me. Okay, I better just stop using this brush before I get really annoyed. Okay, now I want to play with this branch here just to get some of the blending and making it look a little bit nicer. These branches look so weird. The birches look so like proper and uniform, and then there's these branches that are like, wow. I don't know. I like it. I dig it. It just seems funky to me. Okay, so I want to create a bit of a shadow on this tree here. I'm going to use some gray. So I just mixed some black and some white. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of this gray color along at the top of here. And I think right here. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do. Oh, maybe down here too, actually. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. And then let's get some of that white. Okay, and then let's blend that a little bit. Let's put that all in there, and then let's blend it. So it's on, like the paint below it is dry at this point. So I'm just using some white on top to blend it a bit. To blend the gray and stuff that I just put on. Still want that shadow, but I still want it to look like it's blended in. This looks kind of funky here. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to use this medium brush if I want a thinner one. But I'm going to get a little bit of water and I'm just going to like wash it essentially. And then that will just smooth out some of the lines and blend it. Ooh, that's a little bit too much. Use my finger as an eraser. Kind of. That's a tool maybe. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. Try to blend it on here, and then I do the same thing here. Okay, but then we want to put in some of those lines still that we did before on the other ones. But this branch is going all willy-nilly on this side. So we need to put some lines in here. So when I'm putting these lines in, I'm kind of starting lighter, and then I'm just pressing down on my brush to try to get a little thicker where it's ending. And then sometimes I'm just, depending how thick your brush is. And it doesn't look like there's any more lines actually on here, but I'm going to put a little bit more just for the heck of it. There we go. Rinse that out a little bit. All right, and I think still gonna put a bit of, I want to put some of that blue still in here. Okay, a little bit of that still. Wow, not come out very well. And a little bit more blue on here. Okay. Okay, oh, it's very watery. Okay, so I just want to go here and put, just going to touch it a little bit. And I'm going to blend it out after too. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with the brown, the golden brown that we made before. With the yellow. I'll do that too. Okay. Touch it a little bit, just so that the continuity of that. I'm digging that color. I really like those. They look great. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the white, and then we're just gonna go over and put like little lines on top of there. Some of them are a little thin, so I'm gonna do some my flat brush and some to play with it a bit, just to break up the splotchiness, and then just to blend it into the white as well. Okay. Yeah, I like it. I think we're good with that. I think. All right, so this lovely branch needs an outline as well. I think I'm going to do that first. Oh, thank you so much, Linda. Hope all of yours are turning out nicely too. Hope you're enjoying it. Okay. I'm going to turn it this way, I think, to do the line. I feel like when I'm doing these lines too, like I hold my breath. Like, keep my hand a little steady, I guess. Or at least it makes me feel like I have more control over it. Okay. Okay, I think that works well. I love it. As soon as we put that line, I feel like it just makes it look so finished. Like it looks so good like that. I love that. The line just makes everything pop. It's crazy. Okay. It's birdie time. Okay, so let's get some red. Oh, Denise, perfect. You're just starting and you rewound it. Amazing. Super smart. That's right. I keep forgetting too, but like, yeah, you can rewind these live feeds, which is amazing. So that's fantastic. Super happy about that. Okay, let's get some good amount of red going on. All right. So this bird looks like a raindrop or like an ink drop. You know, like when you get printer ink, that's what it reminds me of. Oh, here's last week's reindeer made a little appearance. Okay, so we're not going to worry. We're going to draw like a nice like raindrop. Don't think of it as a bird. Think of it as like a raindrop shape. Okay, that's easy. You can do this. Not a problem. Right? Right. Okay. So again, you're going to start thinner or smaller than what you initially want to end up in. I think I might start with my fine point just so I can like outline where I want it, and then I'm going to use like my medium brush to like fill it all in. So let's do that. Although like I said, my fine point is like, it's not my friend today. The bristles are all like flailing kind of weirdly. It's not put some water on it and I'm just gonna see if it wants to cooperate, but it seems to like to. Okay, now it's a little better. Okay, okay, it's cooperating. It's on camera now, it's behaving. There we go. Okay, let's see what happens when I start to paint with you though. Okay, so this guy's gonna live about here, so I'm just gonna draw kind of a giant teardrop shape in red. Right smack dab. This is my guy. Or lady, I don't know which gender of bird this is, but I don't think it matters. Okay. And then do the same thing on this side. Okay. Okay. Not too bad. Alright, and this guy or girl has a tail that comes out. So the line would go about there, so then it's going to come about here. And we're going to bring it out. So it's just like a straight line. And then we're going to do another smaller straight line. And we're just going to close it off a bit there. Okay? There we go. This is behind this branch, so we want to keep that integrity of that line we just created. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to fill it in with a thicker brush. I'm just going to also, again, try to keep the integrity of that line, which is not happening so well here. But I'm just going to do that. Okay, cool. So now let's fill in this raindrop of color. My medium brush. It's always scary when you have these like wonderful trees and you've done all this work and then you have to put something on top of it. It's always the scary part. If you decide just to have trees and the birds have flown away, that's totally fine. No judgment. I get it. But I definitely encourage you to paint a little raindrop, a little teardrop color. You can do it. Okay, so as you'll see, I think you can see, yeah, you can. So you can see that obviously it's not very opaque, and that's okay. And we'll fix that up as we go. But right now we have where we want this little guy to live. I feel like his tail should be a bit longer too, to be honest. So I'm going to do that. Maybe I should still use my thinner brush, but living on the edge. There we go. That's cool. All right, cool. I'm going to stop that brush momentarily. while we place our other birds on this picture. Oh, don't be scared, Joe. You can do it. Paint your raindrop. Teardrop of color. You can do it. And this guy is also a teardrop. So he's like, whoop. So he's a teardrop. He just, again, we're going to put his face in where we want it to be, and then he'll make it look like he's looking at this other person here, right? Person. Other people. Okay, so again, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go down. And I'm going to go around. Ish. There we go. Okay. Cool. That side looks a little bit weird. There we go. Okay. So he's living here. Cool, and his tail is going up, covering our beautiful birch tree. How dare it? I guess you can make it go a different way, but again, I'm gonna just stick with. Oh, his tail's so thick there, but oh well. There we go. He's got a thicker tail. Again, no judgment. Okay. Yep. So I think that's good. I might want to. I'm gonna fill it in. I'm gonna see if I need to make him a little bit wider. We'll see. Okay, let's just pop in this red color. Let's do it. Go for it. Connect 4. Okay. At least it all looks uniform because the background of that one is all the same color. There we go. Okay, that's where that guy's gonna live. I still might make him a little, like, fatter, I think. I think I want him to stick out a little bit more. I'm gonna do that now with my thinner brush first, just to... Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think I like that better. Fantastico. Okay. So while these ones are drying, let's put in the red birds in the background too. Might as well. Let's get them all done here. So we got this guy that's sitting on this little branch. So again, it's like another little teardrop. Or pear. Whatever you wanna, whatever works for you. Okay, and then there's his tail that comes down. And if you need to put in that branch again, just do it later. It's not a big deal. Okay, there we go. A teardrop. Put a space in later. It's all good. Okay. There's another one that sits up here. So again, this one's kind of coming out like that. Mine's a little bit more tilty than the one in the image. It's okay. So again, I have another little teardrop happening over here. I'm going to fill it in. Try not to put your hand in your wet paint. I think I just narrowly avoided it that time. But it might happen again. It's happened before. I'm sure it'll happen again. Okay, there you go. That guy's there. And this guy's like peeking. He's like, hey, what's going on? Okay, so where's he? So I don't think I actually did a branch for him. So I'm going to put him right here. like a teardrop, but can't see part of it, which is okay. I'm just trying to, oh, the tip of this brush is killing me. Okay. There we go. And his tail's hidden. No need to worry about that guy. Cool. Got a bunch of red drops all over the place. Hey Lori, you've been working a lot lately. Aw. Aw, you miss me. I miss you too. I'm glad you love this picture. Well, remember, this is up, so you can do it whenever works for you. So if you have some time off during the holidays or in the future at any point, feel free to watch it whenever you so desire. But yeah, it's always fun to, when you join live, of course. Live is different. It's like a different energy. You can even though you can't see everyone who's on here, it's nice to, I don't know, it's a different vibe. You just are like, oh, people are doing it right now. It's cool. But even if you're doing it watching this pre-recorded version or whatnot, that's not what I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say if you're watching it later, on my YouTube channel, it's still kind of cool. It's still a nice community. Oh, I just messed up my line. Frig. There we go. Okay. But it's still nice to know that a lot of people have joined. And it's cool to see when there's a lot of views on something. That's really neat. You're like, wow, 1,000 people have seen this? What? That's pretty cool. Even though I think that even includes was 1 second, so I don't get super excited about that. I'm like, oh, okay. They turn on, they're like, no, I don't want to watch this. Still counts as a view, I think, though. Okay, so we got our birds going on here. Okay, so to make it really simple, you can keep them with the red. Again, we want to still go over some of the lines because you can still see some of the background lines, so we want to paint over it so that we can cover that up nicely. So I might take a couple tries when it dries and then we do it over. But we can leave it in just the solid red, or you can add a little bit of a shadow. So I'm going to add a bit of a shadow just to show you how to do it, and that might help cover up a little bit of those background too. So I think I'm going to go with, I'm going to add a little bit of black to my red. Again, remember, when you add black to anything, it pretty much just takes over fully. So you got to be cautious and just add a little bit. So whatever you want to add a quarter of it. Okay, but even if we go a little dark, it's fine because we can always lighten it up again. Okay, so it's a little dark. It's kind of like a thing. So I'm going to just put in a little bit of a shadow on this side of the bird. I'm just going to put in, and if you remember, I just put a red coat on top, so the paint below it is still wet. So as I'm doing this, it's picking up and blending into the red paint as I'm kind of going over it, and it's actually hiding that line of that birch tree. I said that, and then it reappeared as if to spite me. No, but it did reappear though. Okay, so let's just, I'm just gonna go around kind of to give it a bit of a shape, and it's a little darker there, which is okay, but then we're gonna lighten it back up and put some more red back in it. I'm just gonna make this a little darker too. Okay, now this guy here too, let's do that. So I'm gonna put a little bit of the shadow here, curve this guy out. Bird belly, oh no! Rogue brush painted in spots I didn't want it to paint in. That's okay, we'll deal with that, no problem. I'm just gonna put some on the tail too. Okay. Okay, so now we have a bit of shadow going on. I'm going to get my red paint and then just go over from the pure red areas back into and pull back into the shadow just to continue to blend it a bit more. Okay, there we go. So a little bit of shadow. Oh, there's a little bit of a glare going on, so it's hard for you to see. No, it's pretty much that's what it is. So yeah, let's see if I can. So you can see that one. You can see the one of them's really. There you go. See the shadow a bit more. Oh, it just got really dark. Oh, there we go. See the slight shadow to give it a little bit of texture. You can see that it goes, you know, around nicer. One of my Cardinals looks like it has a fish tail. Oh no, Mary. Oh no. Maybe it's a crossbreed bird/fish. What kind of acrylic paint do I use? I use only the best the Dollarama has to offer, Vivian. So the paints that I currently have are from Deco Art, Crafters Acrylic. And I've had them for a while, but they're from my Dollarama. So I just go with the cheapest paints. They're about $1 each. That's the brand right there. And to me, they work just fine. I've always used cheap paints, and I'm a proponent of it because I don't have money. Okay, so let's go and add a little bit of shadow to some of the other ones with my thinner brush. So I'm going to add a bit more here. So I'm going to just put a little bit here. Okay. I just literally put like little lines in there, but I don't want a lot going on. I want to go back over with the red paint just to soften the lines that I just put in. I'm absolutely painting over this branch, so I'm going to have to fix that afterwards, but that's okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so while it dries in the middle, I think I'm going to outline the birds. So I'm going to use pretty much black paint to do the outline. You can soften it up a bit if you want to just make it like really dark brown, you can do that. But I think I'm going to go with pure black. I just put a little bit of water in it just to make it like ink-like in terms of the consistency. And then I want to outline my birds. Where am I going first? I think I'm going, I don't know where I'm going. This guy. Okay, number one is done. The small ones give you a bigger sense of accomplishment because you can get them done fast. You can psych yourself up to doing the outlines on the bigger ones. Okay. Okay, so let's do this one first. And then we'll paint their little face on after. Oh, his beak's gonna stick out, but that's alright. Okay. So I'm going to just put in a little line here. And there too. Okay. And then I want to put in a little line here. That. Okay. We also got their talons going on. Can't really see them too well, but we know they exist. I'm just going to put the little darker here so we know they exist. And same here. Okay, cool. I don't know how they actually look, so I'm just putting little black splotches. So gives that idea. If you know how they look and they actually look better on that, then feel free to make them more accurate. But that's okay. Okay. Cool. Outlines. They look really weird without faces. Oh, I'm so glad you're having fun, Nicole. Yay! Awesome. You found some, yeah, a Dollar Tree. Yeah, I agree. I have had no issues with them from a dollar store, Dollarama. And the fact that they're cheaper definitely, yeah, makes it a lot easier on the pocketbook as well. So that's always nice. All right, so let's tackle these faces. So in the background, you have just like ideas of like faces. So like this is just like a black little splotch with like an orange dot. So why don't we start with that one? Because that one's nice and a nice easy way to get into the faces. So we're going to do the black first. We're going to have to do the orangey dot later. We have to wait till the black dries fully. So I'm going to get in there. So we're going to just put a little kind of half circle right there. That's his face. Sure it is. Okay, let's do another one right here. A little half circle. There you go. There you go. They kind of look like the Among Us character. That's funny. Okay, let's do another one here. Okay. Beaut. Alright, so now let's tackle the main guys. Okay, so this shape looks like a nice heart. So it has a nice heart, and then, so that's what we're going to do. So I want to draw a black heart, and then we will divide it up for the elements of that face. And I think that will be a really easy way to go about that guy if my paintbrush wants to cooperate. So the face is like not in the middle of the body, so the top part here, and it's centered. So let's do our very best and there we go. It's funny. Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna slice up the hearts. Oh, that just took away all the love. Okay, I'm gonna bring a line and just kind of go like this, and then I'm gonna bring another line and go like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna fill in top parts here in black. There you go. Cool, right? Just a heart. And again, this is kind of like a half heart, right? But we have to do this like beak thing going on. So let's draw how you want that to live. So a half heart. Right, and then now we need to still cut it the same way we did the other one. Kind of like that. And then this part's going to be black. Okay. And then we need to put this beak in, but we're not going to do that yet, but we are going to do it soon. All right. Okay, hopefully that's working for you. Okay, so we're going to, where are we at? Let's see. Oh, wow, we're already over 2 hours. Wow. Okay, well, let's get these faces done, shall we? Okay, so let's mix some orange. So if you have pre-mixed orange, awesome, possum, use it. If you don't, you need to mix yellow and red together to get your orange. So I'm going to get a little bit of my red, throw it in my yellow. And I'm just going to mix until I get the orange that I'm interested in. So if I want it, you know, you can put more yellow, you can put more red. It depends on the orange that you want. If you want it to be a bit more, again, red orange, you're going to have to put more red in it than yellow, and vice versa. It really just depends on what you want. I think I'm happy with that. Every time I mix my own orange, I always think it looks like a coral instead of like an orange. I feel like that it looks like a pink. I need to put more yellow in mine, I think. There we go. I'm okay with an off orange. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go with that, I think. Alright, so these just have a little dot because we know the beak exists somewhere on the face. We're just gonna get that idea. Okay, a beak exists. Cool. I am trying to make it a little pointy on some of them. I think it looks better. Oh no, he has a really big beak, that guy. He's far away. You can really see it. Okay, let's now paint in the middle part of our heart with the orange. Okay. Okay. And we're going to paint this part too. So now we're going to bring this beak out and back. So we're going to draw like a little triangle essentially. Okay. And I'm putting a little more orange on the black behind it so I can't see that line. And then we're going to do the bottom part, which is a little baby triangle. It doesn't go as far. And we're still going to use the black later and outline it all and make it all stand out all beautiful. For now, that's what we got. Ah, I shouldn't have done that. That's okay. Black will cover it up afterwards. All good. Okay. It's got our orange. Just getting this a little darker. Okay, good. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So now, let's get those eyeballs going. So, get my brush point to be actually 1 point. Get white paint. A little bit more. I'm going to do this guy's one first. So I'm just going to do a dot. Boop. I'm going to do boop. Boop. There you go. That's it. There's the eyeballs. Okay. Now I'm going to get my black paint. And again, let's get that thinned out again if I can. Oh, don't go away, picture. We're almost done. You can't disappear yet. Okay, so. And what we are going to do is we are going to put a line here that cuts through where that beak lives. Okay. Looks a little bit funky because this should be a little smaller. So I'm just going to close off. I'm going to just make this more tighter triangle here. Clean it up a little bit. I really just like the point of my heart there, so I'm just going to flip it and see if I can fix it up a little bit. There we go. It's a little better. It's had some work done. Okay. And now this beak, I'm going to put this a line all the way. I'm gonna color this part in because I shouldn't have made that bigger. That was a mistake. And then I'm gonna bring the line there. Yeah, he's funny. He's funny looking at me. But I think he's good. Okay, cool. There we go. I think all the elements are good to go. I can still see a little bit of the birch line there, and that's bothering me a bit. Let me see if I can just darken it a bit more. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay, good. I can't see it anymore. Okay, cool. I can see it below here too, so let me just do that too. Okay, cool. There. I want that in red, actually. Cool. Hi, Peggy. So, these free painting parties are every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. And basically, we never know what we're going to paint until the Tuesday before. On the Saturday before the party, I'll give you 3 choices, and everyone votes on those 3 options. And the one with the most votes, I announce on Tuesdays, and then that's the one we paint on Wednesdays. So that's how I like to do things here. So we never know what we're going to paint. It's always left to whatever you guys decide. Okay, let's sign our names. But if you want to see in the previous parties, they are all under the videos tab on the Facebook page or on my on my YouTube channel, Lisa's Painting Parties. I feel like handwriting today, so I'm going to write. There we go. Just my initials. I always feel like I go over them because I use too much water and then it looks like you can't even see it. Cool. There we go. So there you go. So there is my completed picture from today's paint party. I'll move back over here so you can see me for a moment or two. There you go. All right, so thank you everyone for joining me tonight. This was a really fun one to do, and I was worried about the birch trees, and I think they turned out really well. So I'm super excited to see how yours turned out. Joe, I hope your birds turned out good and you weren't too scared and you had a fun time with it. Maybe just go with it and make them giant spiders. That can work too, like with the branches. Anyways, I can't wait to see all of your paintings. I always enjoy painting with you. So again, every Saturday there'll be 3 options that will be on the site, and you guys all vote for them, and then the one with the most votes will be declared the winner on Tuesday is at noon, and then after that we will paint that winner on Wednesday night. And again, all the images that I put on there are all things I find online, from Google searches, from photos sometimes, from other people's pictures, from just stuff we found online. If you have any ideas too, you can feel free to send them in as well, and they might show up as one of the options for one of the weeks. I do have the next couple weeks lined up, but yeah, I definitely love to get your ideas in as well, since again, this is all free and getting some help is always nice. If anyone does want to be like an admin to help like block the people, especially the ones that I've already known for a while, please let me know, and I'll be interested in talking to you about that. Again, this is all volunteer, so that would be if you wanted to. We get a lot of scammers that come on at the beginning. But anywho, yeah, so that's what that is. If you are looking for anyone to host any type of virtual holiday parties, anything like that, definitely reach out. I'll be more than happy to do like any type of like personal Zoom gathering. We can talk about what that looks like if that's something that you're interested in. And I guess that's about it. So have a fantastic rest of your day and rest of your week. And definitely snap a picture of yours and put it in the comments, and I'll do the same thing, and I'll put mine up as well so you guys can check it out and share with anyone else you think might be interested. All right, have a fantastic day. Bye, everyone. Take care.